Okay, I'm back, Biffy. Neither died Dr. Pepper. Oh, if only it was a Bud Light. It would. Let me know when we hear from John, or if we hear from John, we're supposed to. Okay, he's early today. That's good. I guess so. Well, we won't keep him waiting. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, he is.
Sickness or injury, the doctors and nurses were great, and they also provided x-rays, a pharmacy, and lab draw station. No appointments needed, and convenient parking is nearby. Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care. They'll take good care of you.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
This is the sound of a racing heart. It's beating a little faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
It's Howard Monroe. If you're a sports fan, playoffs have to be among your favorite time of year. I mean, you can't wait to bet the action this weekend on FanDuel Sportsbook. And if you've never tried FanDuel before, the playoffs are the perfect time to give it a shot, because right now, new users get an exclusive 25-1 odds boost on any team to win during this weekend. That's right, 25-1 odds, any team, any playoff game this weekend. Don't miss out on this exclusive offer. Bet on football all season long on FanDuel. The playoffs are the best time for you to do it. It's very easy to use. FanDuel is intuitive and simple. You get fast withdrawals, great odds boosts, and specials. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and use my name, Monroe, in the promo code. You must be 21 or older and present in Pennsylvania or West Virginia. New users only. You must wager on designated boost market. Deposit required. Maximum bonus $125. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. Weather look at your local weather forecast for your Friday under mostly cloudy skies. A chilly day in store. 33 for the daytime high. 21 for the overnight low under mainly cloudy skies. You'll see plenty of sunshine, but stays rather chilly for your Saturday with highs in the upper 20s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
What day of the week is it?
Today's Friday.
This is my favorite day.
Today's the last day of our week.
Do I have to be at work?
Yes, you'll have to work hard.
And then guess what?
It's the weekend.
Now the weekend is always great.
Great. This is the weekend.
That's something to
Get excited about?
I mean, it is the weekend.
All right, let's get this show on the road.
And it's showtime.
A fresh take on local, regional, and national news. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe, brought to you in part by Wheeling Hospital.
You know, one of the things everybody's talking about, Iffy, are these Bernie Sanders memes. I'm getting a whole bunch of them sent to me directly, plus a lot of them just showing up on Facebook. One of my Facebook listeners, one of our actually Facebook Live viewers, Photoshop Bernie into Bel Air St. John's.
I think they've actually made it now into a baseball card and a bobblehead.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's just some of the comments that I heard about Bernie, about the actual Bernie being there at the inauguration, was like, one of the ones I liked said, Bernie Sanders looks like a guy for whom the inauguration is just one of many things he has to do today. It's like, I'll go to this inauguration, but really I got some other stuff I gotta do. So, I just love these memes that are showing up. And of course, the Puppet Master did a whole bunch of them. He photoshopped, Bernie into all kinds of places around here in the upper Ohio Valley. It's just funny. And Bernie he just looks like Bernie, I guess, right? I mean,
it's almost like it was punishment that he had to be there. The look like, I don't want to do this, but I guess I got to. So I'll just sit here. Nobody bother me. Leave me alone. Let's get this over with so I can do whatever's next on my schedule for the day.
Everybody was socially distant because of COVID, of course, but it looks like he's just over on a corner by himself, got his arms folded in front of him with his mittens on. And that's fine. The mittens, listen, more power to him. He's an old guy and he wants to keep his hands warm, and mittens are fine, but it just looks like such a grumpy old man, But anyways, if any of you are photoshopping Bernie pictures and you want to ship them to me, that's fine. I'm no good at Photoshop. I can't do that at all. Brad McElhaney last hour was saying he wanted to Photoshop Bernie into the Talkline studios.
How funny would that be? Oh my!
That would be hilarious. And by the way, did you listen to any of Talkline yesterday?
A little bit, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, same with me. But boy, Hoppy he's just really getting fed up with some. And these are the kinds of callers he's had for years. But I think he's, like me, just reaching the end of his rope. Some of these callers were on the, the election was stolen and Antifa was actually behind the thing. And Hoppy is like, I can't take it anymore. I can't take this anymore. He was really, really getting frustrated with some of his callers. And I have to laugh. I was going to send him a note, and then I thought it'd be like gloating. I want to say, Hoppy, this is what you have created. These are the folks who have been your big fans for years. And now you're beginning to realize that, reality is a little bit different than what the fantasy world some of these people have been creating, and now you're frustrated by it. And I appreciate it that you're frustrated by it. But Welcome to my world. Anyway, real quick, what's coming up today? We're talking about the Governor Justice's new COVID vaccine registration system. Brad was with us on that. QAnon and some other far-right conspiracy groups are trying to figure out what they do and what they believe, since a lot of what they thought was going to happen didn't happen, and Biden was never supposed to be president, and Trump was supposed to have him arrested, and they didn't. And a lot of the QAnon people are going, yeah, I guess that's the end of that. And they're running away. We'll talk about that if we have a chance. I'm purging my Facebook page of toxic posters, and in that process, I've come to realize how much we all like to share discussion about food. And coming up, actually right now, as a matter of fact, newspaper editor John McCabe and I with our regular Friday roundtable. John, good morning, sir.
Hey, Howard. Good morning. You talk about food. Somebody sent me a file this morning that I thought if you can spare 40 seconds, it came straight from the archives of history. And my understanding is this is the unreleased version of this song. So I'm going to play it for you here real quick and your listeners. I think you'll enjoy it.
All right. Okay. All right.
Food will. I'm really hungry. Of gravy. Food. So, that's just the first 40 seconds of Captain and Tennille were singing about food back in the day.
Yeah, okay.
You talk about food bringing people together, and I can't believe that was their original take on that song, and then of course they changed it to Love because it was the 70s and flower power time and all. So
flower power, but food really was what it's all about.
That could be our new intro from now on, is we could do the unreleased version of Captain Tennille's song for our weekly segment.
Did you do that yourself, or did one of my crappy listeners send it to you?
Well, one of your crappy talkers here with you did it. It took about 3 minutes and did a hatchet job recording. So just how it goes.
But in all seriousness, don't you think my point about if Biden wants to, have unity in the country, why don't we start with food? I mean, everybody loves to talk about food, and we can disagree about food, but I don't like broccoli. Well, I don't like, whatever.
Howard, don't you know that liver and onions, only evil people eat liver and onions? I mean, that's not an American meal. That's what it would turn into.
Probably Republicans. That's what I think is nothing but this far-right radical Republicans eat liver and onions.
I mean, don't you think that's what it would look at those snowflakes eating tofu and and sushi. Isn't that what it would turn into, though? I mean, unfortunately, I think we're past the point of healing this country. I really do. I thought Biden hit on some decent notes in his speech on unity and bringing people back together. I just don't even know if it's possible anymore. And maybe it was never as great as we thought it was.
He hit good notes. I mean, what he said is right, but your point is really well taken.
Yeah.
And you know what? As silly as it is, you're right. If we begin to focus on food and say, let's all just talk about food, which we all eat, and we all love food, it would turn into, first of all, it would just be a little disagreements,
Mm-hmm.
You're right, I like liver and onions while I prefer tofu. And it wouldn't be long before, you're right, the snowflakes eat that tofu, and evil Republicans eat liver and onions or something.
Yeah, you can only be a conservative if you eat meat and potatoes every night, or something like that. I mean, that's the unfortunate reality of where it feels like we're at right now. Now, maybe, always the optimist and always hope things can get better, but I tell you, my optimism on the country for the next, at least for the next 4 years is not very good. And quite frankly, even, after that, I don't know how we bring people back together. The divide is, because look, we're only 20 years this year out from 9/11. That was probably the last time the country, I don't say fully united, but, united for a common goal. But how long did that last? Just a few years. Within a couple of years that ended, and and maybe that's just the course of our democracy right now that we can't get along.
Well, we had a physical attack on our Capitol a couple weeks ago. And we can't get, I mean, you would think that's something that everybody would condemn.
You would hope.
But we can't even get that. We can't even get that because it becomes too political.
You would hope that, you're right. You would think that would be something that unequivocally we could say, having people rifling through senators' desks and sitting at the Speaker of the House, I don't care who it is, sitting at the Speaker of the House, in her office and rifling through her notes. And that's, I just was watching one of the videos again yesterday, and it's just, the glee in what people thought they were doing. And as you said, I think just a little while ago, now they're saying, why in the world did we even do it? What purpose did it serve? It served no purpose other than to well, I don't want to get into it because I don't want to, it's not the focus of it, but it just really didn't do anything other than get people arrested and attack one of our sacred halls of governance. And, as Americans, we shouldn't stand for that ever again.
And my comments here have nothing to do with whether or not Donald Trump incited it or any of that political stuff. It's just every American should condemn what happened.
Yes.
It should not have happened. It was wrong. It was bad. And those who did it deserve to be punished. Now, again, I'm not talking about the motivation. I'm not talking about Trump inciting to violence. I'm just talking about people who took, bats and broke through the glass of the Capitol and who went through the Capitol and ransacked and vandalized and stole and terrorized. Can we not all say that's wrong? But again, the answer is no, we can't. No, some people don't. Some people want to alibi it away. Very frustrating.
Yes,
very
frustrating. It is. But hey, there's good stuff going on in Wheeling. Our city is willing to give a pittance of the money we give them, that they now have like a $10 million surplus or, kind of $10 million sitting around to use, and they want to give a pittance back to the taxpayers and the businesses. Isn't that great, Howard? Isn't that how that's America's supposed to work?
Here we go, John. You can't even be gracious in saying that the council is preparing to give a B&O break to small businesses.
I just said it. They are. They're preparing to do it.
This is what I'm talking about. You got to make. Well, it's just a little pittance after all. It's a good gesture. It's a good thing to do.
Only in America.
Why can't you say it's a good thing to do?
Only in America can we be happy when the people that we give our money to give us back scraps from the table as a reward for being good citizens. In all seriousness, I do believe that in some ways, but it is the right gesture. It's a good first step in the right direction. Again, the city has, it's again one of the fallacies of our system. Governments have been made whole through CARES Act funding, made beyond whole. I mean, the city's bought a fire truck,
made beyond whole, yeah, that's
true. And done other things that really have nothing to do with COVID, with money that was used because of COVID or money that was gained because of COVID. But be that as it may, I think you and I talked about this several months ago. Set up a small business revolving loan fund. Do something. So they've at least listened. Can they do more than a B&O tax? I would hope so, because I don't know if a B&O tax is going to help the small mom and pop restaurant or other places that have just been devastated by what's been happening over the last 10 months now. Going on a year now. We'll just say, the city has been made more than whole. The least they can do is what they're doing now. They should do more. That's what I'll say. But I'll give them credit.
I would like to say at least they're doing what they're doing now. I mean, I commend the finance for listeners who follow procedure. This has not yet been approved by council. It likely will, but it's recommended by the finance committee and I don't have the numbers in front of me. Is it a percentage reduction or no? It's they're going to forego the first quarter B&O tax for businesses under a certain size. Is that the way it's going to work?
I think
right?
so. That's how I read it, at least. Yes.
So it's a good gesture.
Yes.
I commend Dave Palmer, who I apparently had the idea, and I commend and they researched it before they brought it forward. You know, they looked to see how much we were talking about and how many businesses would be impacted and so on. Discussed it in the Finance Committee, approved it by Finance, and are now sending it off to Council for the next meeting. I give them a lot of credit for that.
Howard, and I agree.
They also have a responsibility, John, for being fiscally responsible for the city as well.
Well, what
I
do they
get your
have right now?
point
They've
that
got
they
$10 million sitting in project fund / rainy day fund. You know, I'm sure everyone would like to have $10 million sitting in there. And again, I'm giving them credit. You know, in all seriousness, this is the right move, and it's the right first move. They need to do. You know, they can do more. And I would urge them, and I hope they find ways potentially to do more, because, you know, the foregoings of a quarter of B&O tax, while it will help, I don't think it's going to be enough for a lot of businesses that have, again, you know, our governments have been made whole. Our businesses have been bandied back and forth between, you know, different loan programs and this and that. You know, the city should continue to look at ways to do everything that it can to help businesses recover from this. And again, right now they have a little bit of financial help to do that.
But John, don't you think the city is trying to do that with the development efforts they have underway in downtown, with plans for the Wheeling Pit building, the investment into the parking garage to make the Wheeling Pit building succeed?
Well, my argument there would be
small businesses will be benefited by that happening.
Potentially, yes. But it also, you know, as we know, the parking system right now is really, really struggling. Obviously struggling because of OV shutting down, but struggling because, you know, there's less people coming downtown and parking in the garages around town because more people are working from home. So now we're going to build another big garage, which I understand the need for it, and it's, you know, to make this project happen, it probably has to be there. But that garage will be a drain on city coffers. Just as all parking systems are. Again, totally understand the argument that the mayor made when they announced this, that, you know, private companies is not going to come in and do this because it's not financially feasible.
The economics of parking in a city like Wheeling doesn't make any sense.
But, you know, will it help businesses? Sure. Having more people downtown is going to help, but it may not help the small mom and pop out on the fringes of the city that aren't going to see people come in who are downtown. So, again, I have.
Yeah, but doesn't a rising tide raise all boats?
Well, sure, Howard. Undoubtedly. We're going to have to see where this one goes. And if
you want to talk about it this way, I mean, if you look at it this way, the way I'm about to present it, the B&O break is, again, I'm very much supportive of it. I think it's a very good thing. But it is only a one-time, short-term, boom, boom. Mm-hmm. Theoretically, investing in downtown to create what hopefully will be more businesses downtown is and help those who are already down there to do better. That's a long-term, future-looking kind of way to help businesses. By creating something that will last, not by giving them a quick tax break.
Are you reading text from the mayor right now? Is that where your talking points are coming from? Come on now.
Check. I haven't done it yet. I don't think so. But
no, all seriousness. Again, I want the city to continue to do more. More can be helping facilitate development downtown. More can be finding ways, again, of revolving loan programs, some different things that can help businesses. But no, obviously, a B&O tax break is going to help. It's not going to hurt. That's for certain. Could they maybe do more? I would hope so, and I urge, again, we'll urge them to continue to look to see what else they can do outside of, projects such as the parking garage, which, granted, will benefit having more people downtown and will benefit the city, longer term. But, longer term, 3 years from now, it's not going to help a business that's hanging on the edge right now. It's just not. And so I think they need to continue to look at ways, if they can, in ways that make sense and don't financially hurt the city, and in a longer term look, and seeing how they can help businesses beyond the B&O tax break. I think that's a pretty fair way to look at it. I don't want to
keep arguing with you, but I also think the city has to keep in mind that they've received a lot of COVID money this year, which has helped them stay again, not just financially afloat, but maybe floating a little bit better than usual, that isn't going to be going on forever. So they can't really. It's not. I'm not saying you're suggesting this, but it's not like they can just readjust the B&O tax and hope that all will be well, because who knows what the next year is going to bring. The best way to create jobs is to create the opportunity for new businesses to develop and current businesses to grow. God, I sound like a Republican. Maybe I should change my thoughts on this. But it seems to me that's a much better long-term growth story than trying to than just keep trying to cut taxes or cut the B&O tax or what have you. Can we just agree that probably both are good ideas?
I'm in an agreeable mood today, Howard. Sure, that sounds perfect.
Okay. All right, that's good. John, let me take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about one of the more frustrating things that people are upset about here in the Upper Ohio Valley and across the state, and that's trying to get their vaccines scheduled. The governor's got some ideas on how to maybe fix that with a new website coming. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Also want to talk about the little controversy between the Ohio County Schools and the Sheriff's Department. So we'll get to those stories coming up in a minute or two in our Ohio Valley Newsweek in Review. Newspaper editor John McCabe is here with me. I'm Howard Monroe, Brother Biff behind the glass, pushing the buttons and laughing because John and I are fighting already. It's 9:31, 29 till the hour, and we'll check some news from Metro News right now.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Biff, I'll do a fan duel before I get back with John, so. Right. When I'm done with it, if you want to play the open, that's fine. But just come back with a regular open. I'll do a fan duel, and then we can get back into it. Thank you. That was a good segment, John. John took us off on a good. That was good. That was a good segment. He did a good job. Excuse me.
$1.40 home ice favorite today against the New York Rangers, plus 120, 6.5 over at the PPG Paints Arena. NFC Championship game on Sunday. The Green Bay Packers are a 3.5-point home favorite against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The total 51 at Lambeau Field. In the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs a 3-point home favorite against Buffalo. The total 53.5. For vsin.com, I'm Mike Sennett on The Watchdog.
Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it. Hey Mike!
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go. Thanks, Mike. Doing a great job. All right, 2 ice-cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Friday under mostly cloudy skies. A chilly day in store, 33 for the daytime high, 21 for the overnight low under mainly cloudy skies. You'll see plenty of sunshine, but stays rather chilly for your Saturday with highs in the upper 20s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
Thank you for riding with the Watchdog. Live and local, just the way you like it. Give us a call and tell us what you're thinking. Locally, 304-214-1600. Out of the area, toll free, 866-514-1600 or 304-232-TALK.
Watch out! He could climb on his soapbox at any time. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
And the temp has not changed much all morning long. 32 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. Winds are at 14 miles an hour right now. That makes the feels like temperature 22. So 32 feels like 22 at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 32 degrees at my home studios here in Elm Grove. And 32 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Something on your mind that you want McCabe and I to talk about? Throw it to the text line, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600, and we will do that in a moment as our Newsweek in Review conversation continues. This weekend, playoffs coming up. Playoffs are many people's favorite time of the year just because they love to watch and bet on the action. And when you're betting, be sure and do so with FanDuel Sportsbook. If you've never tried FanDuel before, the playoffs are a great time to give it a shot because right now, new users to FanDuel get an exclusive 25-1 odds boost on any team winning during the game. That's right, 25-1 odds, any team, any playoff game. Don't miss out on the exclusive offer. FanDuel is easy to use. If you've never tried it before, you'll find that it's quickly and simple to navigate. They can take fast deposits, fast withdrawals. You get your money back very quickly. And they have all the different kinds of odds, boosts, and specials every day, and some especially big ones on the weekend for you. But to do so, you have to download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, use my name, Monroe, in the promo code box, and that way they know we sent you here on the Watchdog Morning Show. FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code Monroe. Now, you must be 21 or older. You must be physically present in Pennsylvania or West Virginia. It is for new users only. You must wager on the designated boost market. Deposit is required. The maximum bonus is $125. You see full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, don't download FanDuel, but instead call 1-800-GAMBLER or online go to www.1800gambler.net. Coming up today, statewide talk line at 10:06. Hoppy Kirchville will be talking with Jim Hoyer from the COVID-19 Interagency Task Force about the vaccine distribution in West Virginia. Brad McElhenney will kick some of that around as well. Also talk about the inauguration and the back-to-school debate that is going on as well. And, of course, it's a Friday, which means steam release beginning at 11:30, where you can call in and say what you have to say to Hoppy, and he will not respond. Even if you have things to say about Hoppy, you can say that on steam release coming up today. And again, Hoppy's been a little bit frustrated the last couple of days with some of his callers. So God help us, I suspect steam release will be even worse. I could be wrong, but it may be worth listening to steam release today, I think. All right, our Ohio Valley News Week in Review continues.
Here's a look at the Ohio Valley local news week in review with newspaper editor John McCabe and Howard Monroe.
Well, John and I managed to find something to fight about already, the B&O tax relief that the city is offering to some small businesses. I think we can probably concur on this next one, though, John. Let's talk about the Ohio County Schools and the Sheriff's Department. Looks like they're working towards resolution of this, but there's some debate over a new contract, right?
Yeah. Excuse me. Yes. So I guess it was Tuesday night, first night kids were back in school. Sheriff Tom Howard was at the Ohio County Commission meeting and, basically stood up and informed the commissioners that he was not putting his deputies back in the schools that they patrol, which I think are 4 or 5 around the county, and because of they don't have a contract and haven't had a contract with the Board of Ed since July. Their contract, I guess, expired June 30th of 2020. So they had, for the short time that students were back in schools in Ohio County in September and early October, they had essentially been there without a contract. Now, what that contract means is just stipulates, I think, repayment from the board, how things are controlled. But interestingly enough, one of Howard's main concerns is that the school board, the school administration, wants more authority over how it disperses and uses the officers that, again, work for the sheriff or at some other schools work for the police chief here in Wheeling. So I don't know if you saw there's also a minor issue in Wheeling with this kind of along the same lines that we had in Shoreline in on from the Finance Committee meeting where, again, these PROs are paid through a grant and then a mix of school board money and city money. And for all those months that the resource officers weren't in school, when students weren't in school, the city's now kind of wondering what's the reimbursement from the school, from the county going to be, County Board of Education going to be for those days. So it's, really a big mess. And in the end, the goal's got to be our goal has to be to keep schools safe. We all know that. That's why PROs are there. They're also there to form, good relationships with particularly young, impressionable students who, especially now, only see the negative side of law enforcement with what's happening and, with some different situations. So this gives them a human interaction with one another. As we talked, when you can learn about someone and you get to meet someone and they can be a positive influence on you, it gives you a much different perspective of them than what, if you just watch, your parents have CNN or Fox on every night and you hear what's going on in Minneapolis and Portland and other places. So, this is something that needs to get fixed. It's on the way to being fixed, but, quite frankly, should never have happened that, given the fact that it's a 7-month past due contract right now.
Yeah, there are a couple of issues, some of which I think are typical and legitimate contract discussions. As you point out, how many schools are they going to put the officers in? I think the school board wants to reduce the number of schools. Am I right about that? That have PROs in them, but
that
is
kind of the initial
about that.
Yes.
Yeah, there is also some debate on, and I think it's a fair discussion to have in a contract talk. Do you pay deputies during the summer months when they're not really in the classroom or in the schools? So that I think is as I understand it, is one of the issues, and that's a fair one as well. But I think the one that's got the sheriff concerned, as you point out, John, is who's going to be in charge of actually deciding the specifics of what these deputies do. Does that become the school that makes those calls or the sheriff that makes those calls? And I think, at least understandably, the sheriff says, no, wait a minute, these are still my deputies that still work for me. So hopefully that gets resolved. And I guess the PROs are back in the school system while they're finishing up this contract discussion, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, yes and no. I mean, they're not I don't think they're playing quite the role they normally do, but they are a presence at the school. Because, again, first and foremost, safety, securing the schools, that's their ultimate responsibility of the PRO. And again, and let's look back. I think what makes this debate, in my mind, even more interesting, what did Tom Howard, our sheriff, what was he before he became sheriff? He was a Wheeling police officer who was a school resource officer. His chief deputy, John Schultz,
And,
what
and
was
his
he?
chief deputy, Schultz,
Yeah,
was
Wheeling
as well.
police officer, also a, I think both of them in different years were school resource officers of the year in West Virginia. They both were, Howard for many years at Triadelphia, Schultz for many years at Wheeling Middle and some other schools. So they, they're not just an administrative sheriff saying, well, you can't do this. I mean, they, what's interesting, John Schultz worked for Rick Jones at Wheeling Middle School when Rick was the principal there. Tom Howard worked for a time for Kim Miller.
That's correct.
So
that's right.
That's where this isn't making a lot of sense right now. Is these folks know each other? They've worked together. Again, this is not like we got a new sheriff in who wants to come in and throw his or her weight around and say, "I'm setting the rules on how my PROs are used." No, these are. Again, the sheriff and his chief deputy, both of whom are intricately familiar with the process and have existing relationships with the superintendent and assistant superintendent in exactly this, this realm of the PROs. So that's what really makes this, to me, even more. Number one, I'm going to say unacceptable because this never should have happened. But two, kind of interesting from, how does it get to this point? What is it that the schools want? Or conversely, what is it that the sheriff and the sheriff wants? It seems like the sheriff just wants a straightforward contract and things to be as they've always been. Again, that's what it seems like. I'm not 100%. Can't say that with 100% certainty. But again, a lot of little, intricate webs in this story, Howard.
Yeah, it is, and I don't mean this in an overly negative way, but a lot of it's a power play thing here. Who's going to have the power? Is it going to be the school board or the school system, I guess I should say, and maybe the individual schools, or is it going to be the sheriff and his deputies? It's a legitimate argument, too. I think it's a very legitimate argument as to who makes those calls. The school says, well, we want the ability to make some changes in the event of an emergency. And my guess would be the sheriff wouldn't disagree with that, but I think he wants to be the one that says okay to that. I'm making some guesses here, but it's just a shame. It seems like this may have fallen through the cracks someplace, John. And maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it really shouldn't have reached this level, I don't think.
Well, I think now, again, another interesting dynamic is the former school board president who, had dealt with these things before is now an Ohio County Commissioner. So now he is, he's not Tom Howard's boss because Tom, the sheriff is an elected official, but, he has budgetary discretion for the sheriff.
Oversight.
So,
Right.
So there's, again, Zach Abrahams, who we're talking about, of course, just started on the commission and was former school board member and school board president for a time. So, again, this is one of those things as you look at it, you see all these commonalities and overlaying, overlays of layers of people who've worked for one another and with one another. This never should have happened. We should not have been here in mid-January 2021 when kids are back to school for the first time in 3 months and the sheriff's department deciding, to not go in, or at least not go in at a regular level on the first day back in classes because of a contract dispute that, quite frankly, should have been settled 7 months ago. Should have been dealt with then.
Yeah. Again, I would agree, and I don't want to lay blame on anybody's shoulders. I think it's just something that apparently fell through the cracks, didn't get taken care of in fast enough time. But it is interesting, as you point out, the cross lines here with the sheriff and his chief deputy having been PROs, with Schultz having been at Wheeling Middle, Rep. Jones was at Wheeling Middle, Zach Abraham having been president of the school board, now on the commission. I mean, there's just a lot of. It's West Virginia,
Yes, exactly.
Wheeling.
There's about a half degree of separation on everything. Not that 7 degrees of separation, but about a half.
Exactly, John. This is not really a big news story, but I was absolutely impressed this week when I interviewed, and you guys did too, Barry Allen from Ziegenfelders.
Yeah.
They gave to they gave to their employees almost $750,000 in bonuses, COVID bonuses they called it. And in talking to Barry Allen this week here on the show, and listening to him talk about how invested they are in their employees, I just find that fascinating. They put employees first, and profits will follow, I think, and I found that really intriguing.
Yeah, would they give everyone $2,000 to $3,000 raises, something in that, bonuses out of
bonuses,
to be part of that, and that they've just been Zickenfelders has been a solid corporate citizen, for years, and from their and I'm trying to think, the name of it just went out of my head, but it's, basically a second chance program they have where they bring people in who might have trouble finding a job elsewhere to, how they rebuilt after that really bad fire now, almost 2 years ago, I guess. But they've just been a model of solid corporate citizenry and how they deal with people, giving folks a chance who many otherwise wouldn't. And you can't say enough good about a company like that. Again, they've invested a lot of money into what historically has been an underserved neighborhood in Wheeling and East Wheeling. They've got, so people are, if they don't have transportation, they can walk to work easily. It's not like you've got to go, over onto the island or, somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, so they can easily get to work. And again, with Barry Allen, Lisa Allen, and that whole family has really made a commitment to be a good steward of their business.
Yeah, and I just am very impressed when Barry Allen started listing all the different things they do for their employees and the perks they provide them and the profit sharing they give them, and the second chance program, as you point out. During the fire, they kept everybody working when they didn't have to. So I love to see a company invest in its employees.
Yes.
All right, John, I appreciate your time this morning. We'll get back together again next week and see what's happening in the Ohio Valley at that point.
See you, Captain.
All right, talk to you later. And I want to get a copy of that food song. Thanks a lot. John McCabe, managing a local newspaper. Let's swing from one news source to another, over to the Big 7, WTRF TV, where Bob Westfall is hard at work getting things all set up for the day today. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Howard. Captain, you always told me you were the Admiral.
I'm the Lord. Now that my daughter-in-law got me a piece of property in Scotland, I am officially a Scottish Lord.
Is that the same thing?
Lord Howard King Monroe. So.
Buying a star. Remember that? You could buy a star and name it.
Yeah. Oh, I bought a star for my wife years ago. In fact, it's still hanging here in the office someplace. She had her little certificate. Yeah.
The star?
And now so she has a star, and I have a piece of the woods in Scotland.
So
which makes me a lord.
How big can you build on that piece of property?
Let's see. You could probably build a phone booth, maybe.
How about a TARDIS? How about a TARDIS?
That would be good. Yeah, I like the TARDIS. Would be good. Somehow that would seem right in the woods of Scotland, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
I can see that. What are you working on today, Bob?
We made it to Friday. Big thing again, the vaccinations continue. We've got the one that's going on down in, it's actually Marshall County. It's Fairgrounds. It's going to involve Wetzel, Tyler, Ohio, and Marshall counties. DK is heading down there now. We're going to find out what's going on with that. I think the big thing that was announced yesterday by the governor is the different way they're going to register people for the vaccinations. I thought that was definitely a step in the right direction. So we'll see how that goes. Like I'm sure you know that he talked about an online registration for people needing the vaccination instead of trying to call in. And I'm sure you've gotten phone calls. I know we have people incredibly frustrated about calling in, getting a busy signal. So we'll see where that goes into that direction.
The only thing I hope people understand is that the governor's plan will get them, if it works right, and I trust that it will. They're farming it out to a third party. The governor's plan will get them on a waiting list, but it's not an actual appointment for a vaccine. Those will only come when the vaccine becomes available.
Right. That's the biggest thing people need to understand is if there aren't any vaccines, there's no vaccinations. But at least
Right.
this is a better way of putting a list together instead of trying to call in. And it's like literally being a radio show. And I've got the next caller gets a win, and it's really been tough on a lot of the older population, especially. So we'll have to see how.
And I understand that. Yeah, and I'm hearing a lot of that frustration.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. What else is going on?
A couple other things we're working on. Catholic Charities has opened a day a day shelter for those experiencing homelessness. Again, COVID has not been kind to a lot of people. So Catholic Charities is stepping up. This is a day shelter. It's on Market Street. It's going to help those that are experiencing homelessness, especially during this time dealing with COVID and unemployment and lost jobs. So that's great news for the community. So we're going to be down to cover that. So find out what that's all about and who can take advantage of that as well. I'm going to talk to Jenny Favin over at Wheeling University, how they're keeping their students safe. Their students are back on campus. We're going to find out what they're doing, what they hope to do, what they hope to accomplish in the coming year with the kids back, and how they're going to keep them safe as they get their education. So we're really excited about that. We're going to talk to Jenny here in about an hour, and we'll have an update on that today as well.
All right, and it's Friday, so we'll probably take a look at the weekend weather, I guess, and see what Dr. Dave is going to tell us. And
weather, we've got
who knows what else is going to happen.
Yeah, we've got the AFC championship game this weekend. We'll have that, so I'm sure Scott will have that. Of course, we're the home of the Super Bowl, so all football.
Yep, Super Bowl's kind of gotten eclipsed so far, but I think we'll start to pick up a lot of attention to it as the playoffs get through the playoffs.
I just read that there's going to be 28,000 fans at Raymond James for the Super Bowl. So,
is that what their number is going to be? All right,
yeah,
interesting.
I think I read that a little bit ago. So 28,000 fans. So hey, maybe we're going in the right direction.
Yep. Well, hopefully we are. Hopefully we are. All right, Bob, I appreciate it. You and your family and the team and everybody have a good weekend, and we'll try next week to see what's happening, what the news of the day is. We'll always find out in the Big 7, checking things out at noon, then again at 5, 6, 10, 11, 5:30 for the statewide show, where you catch up on all the statewide news and catch it all combined at WTRF.com and some conversation about it on the WTRF Facebook page. So
absolutely,
lots of ways to get your news from the Big 7.
All right, you guys have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Appreciate it. Thanks, Bob. Bob Westphal from the Big 7, WTRF TV. Well, I think that's about it. I got to say sayonara, see you, bye-bye, farewell. I got to go. I got to get out of here. We made it through a weeky, Biff.
We put another one in the books.
Yep, I think and it's my first 5-day week in a long time, so I feel I can do it. I now know I can do it.
Small victories.
I can make it through. I can make it. Exactly right. Kirchhoff's got the calm coming up next, and as for me, well, good Lord willing, creeks don't rise, bat phone doesn't ring, I don't get impeached, don't retire, ticker keeps on ticking, don't overeat, don't have a bad reaction to my COVID vaccine. That's always a possibility. And most importantly, Teddy says, it's okay, you can go back to work on Monday, Granddad. I shall return Monday morning, 7 o'clock, and then go around to the big gig. Are you back with me, Biff?
I'll be back Monday ready to start another week.
We'll just keep on doing it till we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
All right, Biffy. Wasn't too bad a show. Managed to get through. That was pretty good. Yeah, I always drag Brad out, but he's just so good to talk to, you know? And, you know, he kind of, you know, you can play with him a little bit, and yeah, it just, I know that I know I drag it out too long sometimes with him, but it's still, hopefully it's good content, and I know that McCabe is, that was a good segment with McCabe today too, so. All right, everything went pretty well. I have to go get a COVID vaccine at noon, and then hopefully I won't get a reaction. Yes, exactly. Did not get, we went down and did a little check yesterday of where we were going, just to make sure I knew where to go, so. But I didn't get any Moundsville food, so maybe today after the vaccine we'll get some Moundsville food someplace and give it a try. Anyways, if you need me for anything, give me a buzz. I'll be around. Did we have any ball games this weekend? I forgot to promote the last one we had. Okay, all right. Okay, I feel bad. I try to promote them, and I didn't even pay attention to whatever the last game was until I saw it online that we were broadcasting the game. So, try to remind me if I forget. Remind me so I don't forget to promote the games, because I do like to make sure we give them a little plug. Keep Jerry happy. All right. If you need me, give me a call. I'll be around. Otherwise, have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you Monday. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Wins $50,000. Just enter for free at RocketMortgageSquares.com, and it could be you. Touchdowns, field goals, safeties, extra points. Every single score change will draw one lucky winner from the square to win $50,000. Plus, 2 grand prize winners will win $500,000 they could use toward their dream home. One way to enter, 2 ways to win. See rules and enter for free at RocketMortgageSquares.com. Then tune into the Super Bowl on February 7th to see if you bring home some dough. Rocket Mortgage, official mortgage sponsor of Super Bowl 55.
No purchase necessary. Legal residents of the 50 U.S. and D.C. of age of majority. Ends 2/4/2021, 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. The NFL entities as defined in the official rules have not offered or sponsored this promotion in any way.